All right, in this training, we are going to be talking about the desk tools of an external mouse and an external keyboard. These are going to be absolute game changers when it comes time to actually be building your business, because you do not want to be ending up so frustrated that you decide to just go ahead and smash your computer because you don't have the right tools, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about external mouse and external keyboard. Now, I want to go ahead and help anybody who might be struggling with understanding the different types of mice that exist. Maybe that's the plural of it right there, is you got to understand the difference between what is a computer mouse and what is a trackpad, because the differences between these two are massive. Why? Because a trackpad, a touchpad is also sometimes what it's called. Literally, you have to spend so much energy in order to literally move your entire hand in order to actually move the mouse that is on the screen, okay? So this thing right over here, this touchpad or this trackpad, this is not conducive to actually being productive, okay? You need to be able to have a computer mouse, because that is what's going to literally allow you to be able to build anything in your business. And the studies prove this day after day after day. Is a trackpad slower than an external mouse? The answer is absolutely yes. Because I don't know about you, but if a task took me 2 times longer, right? So let's say, for example, there's a task or a project that you had to do that was 15 minutes, but it actually took you 30 minutes, or something that was supposed to take you 30 minutes, it took you 1 hour. Come on, that's going to be terrible. That is so frustrating, right? And that's exactly what the studies prove. If you don't use a physical mouse, if you don't use an external mouse, you are missing out on over 50% of your productivity. You can literally double your productivity just by changing the external mouse that you are using, okay? So this is no bueno. You do not want to be using this. You want to have an actual mouse that you can use, and especially a mouse that has a scroll wheel is going to be very important, because it's going to allow you to be able to go ahead and go up and down on pages much, much more quickly. Now, does that mean that we never actually use a trackpad ever again? No, we use a trackpad plenty of times. Maybe we're on the couch, maybe we're traveling, maybe we're just hanging out, maybe we're just chilling. Sure, we can use a trackpad, but when we're talking about getting stuff done, when we're talking about actually being productive, we do not use trackpads, we do not use mouse pads, we don't use that, okay? What we use is an external mouse. And so just like we talked about in the previous training, screen real estate, absolute non-negotiable. You're going to need screen real estate in order to build a business, and you're going to need an external mouse in order to build a business as well. Otherwise, you're just going to end up being frustrated, and it's going to be too difficult for you to actually go ahead and build your business, okay? So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the external mouse. Now let's go ahead and talk about the external keyboard. Now, this one is not as critical as the external monitor, the screen real estate, the mouse, because here's the thing, depending on your setup, you might actually be able to get away with just using your laptop's keyboard. So in this case, for example, there is the extra monitor, right? There is the external mouse. And then in this case, this person actually has the keyboard. And a lot of times, especially with these MacBook computers, the keyboards are so good these days that you can just get away with just using the keyboard on your actual laptop, but you still have that external mouse and the external monitor. So this is going to be one of those things that is a preference depending on your setup. But let's say you do have a setup like something like this, for example, where you are going to go ahead and use, the computer, the laptop is far away from you, or let's say you have an ultra wide monitor in which you're going to go ahead and dock your laptop, then for those cases, then you are actually going to need an external keyboard, okay? Now, again, the biggest thing you got to also remember is that a lot of times, unless it's like a MacBook or something that's actually designed for efficiency or productivity, a lot of times these keyboards are not the best for that, right? The laptop keyboards are designed for portability, not necessarily for the typing experience. And so that's the reason why having an external keyboard can definitely help in terms of the key space and the traveling distance and all that kind of stuff. And quite frankly, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money either. This is actually a keyboard that we actually ended up using for literally years. It costs $24 on Amazon, right? You can type it in as an Omoton Bluetooth keyboard. It costs $20. And quite frankly, I found that this keyboard, I actually prefer it to sometimes $300 plus keyboards. Okay. So again, you could go ahead and purchase this one if you really wanted to. Again, this is just another tool in the toolbox. Maybe it's not as critical of a tool as the external mouse like we talked about, or the external keyboard, because these are like non-negotiables, but the keyboard is something for you to also consider because it is extremely helpful as well. Now, again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm going to say it again because we say it in every single dang training, okay? Because we're going to beat the dead horse unicorn here. It's like, hey, do I have to wait to be able to go ahead and get the perfect external mouse, the perfect external keyboard before I can start building my business? You got to pay attention here, okay? I know not every student is as amazing as you. Not every student gets the point or the lesson just like you do, is that you got to use what you have, okay? And you got to start the business regardless of the tools that you have. And you're working on these tools and getting them set up in the background so that way we're just opening your mind and opening your eyes to the tools that are important. And you just want to make sure that you're prioritizing the thing that's the most important, which is getting the dang work done with the wisdom to know, hey, what are the tools that are going to allow me to actually get this work done faster and more efficiently? You don't want to be a Dumbo that's too far on this side of the spectrum, and you don't want to be a Dumbo that's too far on this side of the spectrum. You want to be wise and have the nuance to understand, hey, where is it important in my situation and where is it not important in my situation to be able to have these desk tools. And so that is going to be your action step for this training, is to understand, hey, external mouse, do I have one? Go out on Amazon, you can go to Best Buy, you can go to Walmart. Literally, nowadays, I think they sell even external mouse at like 7-Eleven or something like that, okay? Literally, an external mouse you can find anywhere. It doesn't really matter what type you use. You can go on Amazon and, buy a couple, and then, if you want to return it based off of what preferences you have, it doesn't matter. But external mouse, for sure, critically important. External keyboard, that's going to be up to you. But that is going to be your action step for this training today, in the next hour. Get that task done. Do not be sitting around and waiting for that to get done later on, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been this training on the external mouse and keyboard. We're not done yet. What's next is we still have a couple other desk tools that we need to go ahead and talk about and help you make sure that you are crushing it. So make sure you go ahead and check out all of the desk tools trainings. But this one has been specifically on the external mouse and keyboard. Again, you're doing a phenomenal job. You're doing fantastic. Keep on going. Keep that momentum going. I know these trainings are a lot more snappy and a lot more quick because they're designed to be tactical and get you into action. With that being said, we will catch you in the next training section.